So if you're in logistics, you know your entire mission is to keep the world moving, right? But here's the tough question. What if the very act of doing that is putting our future at risk? We're all feeling the pressure to slash our carbon footprint. So today, we're going to dive into a strategy that's, well, it's more than just ticking a box. It's about truly upgrading our supply chains to be more sustainable and honestly, a lot more resilient.
Okay, let's get right into it. I mean, just look at the scale of this. Every single container you see here represents a product, a journey, and, yep, a source of carbon emissions. We're talking about the industry that literally powers the global economy, but it comes with an environmental price tag we just can't ignore anymore.
And this is the reality check. This chart lays out the path we're currently on. Just look at that jump from 2015 to where we're projected to be in 2050. If we do nothing, freight emissions are set to more than double. That's not just some statistic to glance over. It's a completely unsustainable future for our planet and for our industry.
So what have we been doing about this? For years, the industry has pretty much relied on one main tool in the sustainability toolbox.
You know this one, right? Carbon offsetting. The idea is simple. Our trucks or ships create emissions over here, so we pay for a project somewhere else, usually planting trees or something, to try and balance the scales. On the surface, it makes a certain kind of sense. But here is where that logic completely falls apart. This chart shows where that offset money actually ends up. See that huge purple slice? That's forestry. And what about transportation, our own industry? It's that tiny, almost invisible sliver right there, a staggering 0.2%. It's basically nothing. There's a huge disconnect. And this quote just nails it. Offsetting becomes this repetitive cash out. It's a line item on a budget. It doesn't make our trucks any more efficient. It doesn't make our ships run cleaner. And it sure doesn't help our planes use better fuel. It's not actually fixing the problem in the logistics network we all depend on.
Okay, so if offsetting is like trying to fill a leaky bucket, what's the alternative? Well, this is where we need a big shift in our thinking, moving away from just compensating and toward direct investment. And the answer is something called carbon insetting. The idea is actually really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of sending our money outside of our industry to fix a problem, we invested inside our industry to solve the problem right at the source. This visual makes it crystal clear. With offsetting, you see the money flowing out of the logistics sector. But with insetting, that same investment gets cycled right back in. It funds greener fuels, more efficient vehicles, and stronger infrastructure inside your own supply chain. Let me give you a simple analogy. Offsetting is kind of like paying to clean up a park in a completely different city. Insetting, that's you, investing in a state-of-the-art recycling system for your own factory. One is a donation, the other is a smart, strategic investment that makes your own operation better. All right, you're probably thinking, this sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Like, how can I invest in a greener truck that I don't even own? Fair question. The good news is we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. The model is built on something a lot of companies already use for their electricity. You probably heard of them, Renewable Energy Certificates, or RECs. It's a proven system for tracking and trading green value. For logistics, it uses what's called a book and claim system. Let me walk you through it. A carrier, say an airline, invests in a green solution, like sustainable aviation fuel. That carbon reduction gets verified and then booked as a credit. Then your company can buy that credit and claim the emission reduction, applying it to your own shipments. And here's the brilliant part. It decouples the financial investment from the physical shipment, which makes the whole thing super flexible and scalable. And hey, this isn't some far off in the future concept. It is happening right now. And it's delivering real, measurable results across all kinds of transportation. From sustainable aviation fuel powering jets in the sky to cleaner engines on massive ships at sea, companies are already using insetting to directly fund the next generation of freight. They are literally investing in the very assets that are going to define the future of logistics. And just look at some of these examples. Screen Semiconductor. They worked with DHL to cut their air freight emissions by over 85% using SAF through an insetting model. And on the water, you've got the RH2Wine initiative, which is building a carbon insetting program from the ground up to create a zero-emission shipping corridor. This is real-world impact, happening today. So let's bring this all back home. What does this really mean for you and your supply chain? Why should a logistics manager care so deeply about this shift from offsetting to insetting? Well, here's why it's so important.
Every single dollar you spend on insetting is a direct investment in future-proofing the network your business depends on. It helps shield your supply chain from future carbon taxes and regulations. It speeds up the green transition for our entire industry. And this is a big one. It gives you a credible, verifiable way to reduce your Scope 3 emissions, which are always the hardest to track and tackle, because you're directly funding the fix within your own value chain.
And you know what the best part is? You don't have to go it alone. This whole ecosystem is growing up fast. You've got platforms like CO2 Connect creating a transparent marketplace, making it easier than ever to connect your company's investment with the carriers and projects that are making a real difference.
And that really leaves us with the final key question. Are you content to just keep paying a fee to compensate for your impact somewhere else? Or are you ready to actively invest in building a cleaner, a more resilient, and ultimately a more valuable supply chain for tomorrow? Because insetting gives you a clear path to make that investment happen.